January 5, 1935. A man checks into room 1046 at the Hotel President under a false name. 3 days later, he's found brutally murdered, bound, stabbed, and beaten. But here's what makes this case truly chilling. When asked who did this to him, his last words were, "Nobody." And then the letters started arriving, claiming he was still alive. This is the unsolved mystery of Roland T. Owen. January 2, 1935. A young man walks into Kansas City's Hotel President alone. He signs the register as Roland T. Owen from Los Angeles. He pays in cash. He carries no luggage. This simple act, checking into a mid-range hotel under a false name, would unravel into one of the most baffling unsolved murders in American history. But why would a seemingly ordinary young man need an alias in the first place? His real name was Artemus Ogletree, born in Florida in 1915. By 1934, his family had moved to Birmingham, Alabama, where he worked odd jobs before hitchhiking west at age 17. He wrote letters home. His parents sent him money. Nothing about his background suggested he needed to disappear. Yet, when he reached Kansas City months later, he became someone else entirely. The name Roland T. Owen left no paper trail in Los Angeles. It was a ghost identity. Hotel staff noticed strange habits immediately. Owen kept his shades drawn day and night, leaving only a single dim lamp burning. He asked for extra towels, but never seemed to bathe. Most disturbing were the phone calls, hushed conversations, where the only audible words were "hi, yes," and "no." The front desk noticed two distinctive features: a thick scar tracing his left temple, and a cauliflower ear twisting the right. These marks suggested a fighter's past, though no boxing records matched either his real or assumed name. The 1930s were ripe for reinvention. The Depression pushed thousands to abandon identities along with bankrupt lives. Some aliases hid criminal pasts. Others simply marked fresh starts. But Ogletree's deception felt different. His family expected his return. The scar came from a childhood grease burn, not back alley brawls. Nothing explained why this particular teenager needed to vanish into a Kansas City hotel room under a dead end alias. Then came the visitor. A maid overheard Owen arguing with someone named Dawn through the door. "You know I didn't do it," he pleaded. Later, investigators would find a note in the room. "I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait." The handwriting didn't match Owen's. Nay, either did the fingerprints on the telephone receiver, a woman's prints, unidentified to this day. Whatever game Owen was playing, someone else knew the rules. The clock was ticking toward a violent end in room 1046. Hotel, Maid Mary Soptic noticed something odd on January 2nd when she cleaned room Nenden 46. On the bedside table rested a handwritten note. I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait. The leaning letters suggested haste. The paper bore no creases, left in plain sight rather than tucked away. This was no casual message. Someone named Don had expected Roland Olin to return at a specific time. The next morning, Soptic overheard Owen speaking through the door. His words carried a strained tone. No, Don. I don't want to eat. I am not hungry. I just had breakfast. No, I am not hungry. The repetition sounded forced, as if refusing an insistent request. The twice in 2 days, this mysterious Don had entered Owen's orbit. First through a note, then through a phone call that left the young man visibly unsettled. Investigators later found mismatched fingerprints on the telephone receiver. Women's prints that didn't belong to any hotel employee. This suggested a third player beyond Owen and Don. A woman had handled the phone either during or shortly after that tense conversation about breakfast. But how? Hotel records showed no female visitors registered to room Denon 46. Theories about Dawn quickly diverged. Some investigators suspected organized crime involvement. The name evoked mafia hierarchies. Others saw signs of a personal grudge. Owen's cauliflower ear hinted at possible underworld connections, though no boxing records matched his alias or real name. Perhaps most disturbing were the letters that arrived after Owen's death, postmarked from Chicago and New York. They bore his supposed signature, but none of his usual writing patterns. One letter claimed Owen sailed to Europe. Another placed him in Cairo, married to a wealthy woman. These fabrications grew increasingly elaborate despite shipping records confirming no such travels occurred. The timing was impossible. The letters arrived weeks after authorities buried Roland T. Owen under his real name, Artemus Ogletree. In 1937, handwriting analysts matched these letters to a New York murderer named Joseph Martin, who sometimes used the alias Donald Kelso. The connection seemed promising until investigators hit a wall. No charges were filed linking Martin to Owen's case. The fingerprints didn't match. Without direct evidence, Don remained a shadow figure who might have been anyone. A criminal associate, a jilted lover, or someone else entirely. The phantom visitor left only 3 concrete traces. A name scribbled on a note, a tense phone call overheard by a maid, and another woman's fingerprints on the receiver. After January 5th, Don vanished as completely as the man he'd supposedly come to meet. The letters continued arriving for months, each one erasing Owen's violent death while rewriting his fictional survival. Who was Don? The answer might lie in Owen's real identity, Artemus Ogletree, a teenager who left Alabama without telling his family why he needed a new name. The scar and cauliflower ear suggested encounters with violence before Kansas City. Perhaps Don represented unfinished business from that hidden past. Or maybe Owen wasn't the intended victim at all. Just someone who knew too much about whatever brought Don to room 1046 that January 5th, 1935. Bellboy Harold Pike and room Tundra 46 around noon to check on the quiet guest. The shades were still drawn, lamps off except for one dim bulb. Roland Owen, really Artemus Ogletree, lay curled on the bed, fully dressed in blood-stained clothes. His face was bruised, his lips cracked and dry. When Pike asked what happened, Owen mumbled, "Oh, I fell in the bathtub." That explanation collapsed as soon as doctors saw him. His injuries included a fractured skull, and puncture wounds in his chest, and ligature marks around his neck. Blood spattered the walls and ceiling in arcs, suggesting a violent struggle. Dr. Harold Flanders examined Owen at Kansas City General Hospital. The injuries were hours old, likely inflicted between 4 and 5 a.m. When Flanders pressed Owen to name his attacker, the response was a single word: nobody. He stuck to his bathtub story despite ropes being found tied around his wrists and ankles. The hospital staff noticed something else. Deep scratches on his arms, as if he'd fought back hard. Then his breathing slowed. He died at 7:30 p.m. without another word. Authorities searched room 946 thoroughly. The phone bore 4 fingerprints belonging to neither Owen nor any hotel staff. A bottle of diluted sulfuric acid sat on the dresser, its purpose unexplained. Most personal items were missing. No luggage, no toiletries except a necktie tag from a New Jersey manufacturer. The only clear evidence of another person was that note addressed to Don, now stained with fingerprints that didn't match the writing. Oddities continued after death. The coroner planned a Pottersfield burial until an anonymous caller paid $25 for a proper funeral at Memorial Park Cemetery, a sum equivalent to $600 today. The caller claimed it should be near Owen's sister, though no family came forward. A florist received 2 $5 orders for 13 American Beauty roses. The attached card read, "Lo forever, Louise," in handwriting the police couldn't trace. Reporters later received a call from a woman who knew details about the burial. "He got into a jam," she said before hanging up. Detectives waited at the cemetery for Louise or Don to appear. No one did. The fingerprints on the phone suggested 2 people had visited room 1046. Presumably Don and the woman who left traces on the receiver. But police never connected those prints to any known criminals. The sulfuric acid bottle went unused in any attack, adding confusion rather than clues. Owen's false name, his hidden past, the visitor called Don, all led to dead ends. The scene itself defied explanation. If Owen was killed elsewhere, why return him to the hotel bed? If he died in the room, why was there no noise loud enough to wake neighbors? Whatever happened between 4 and 5 a.m. on January 5th left only one certainty. Someone wanted Artemus Ogletree gone, and they made sure he'd take the truth with him. The case of room 1046 remains unsolved, a stark reminder of how easily the truth can disappear. Despite fingerprints, witness accounts, and letters, no one ever identified Dawn or the woman who left traces in that hotel room. The sulfuric acid, the anonymous funeral payment, the roses from Louis, each clue led nowhere. Kansas City police still list it as an open investigation, though nearly 90 years have passed. What really happened that January night? Was it a crime of mistaken identity, a personal vendetta, or something darker? To this day, no one knows who killed Roland T. Owen, or why.